Jake here for American Muscle, and today I'm taking a look at the Petters Extreme XA Coilover Plus kit fitting 2005 to 2014 Mustangs. Whether it's the lowered look or improved handling you're after, the Petters Extreme XA Coilover kit we have here today is sure to deliver both. Now, these are a great choice for a street-driven car that might see some track time as well, since it's a very adjustable kit with track-bred tuning that doesn't compromise on ride quality either. Suspension upgrades like a set of coilovers are some of my favorite things to do to a car because they can completely transform the way your Mustang is going to drive. Takes it from maybe a bit floaty in stock form to something that will carve corners with the best of them. Now, Petters focuses on steering and suspension upgrades, so their offerings are engineered to make a big difference. And there is a lot to talk about here, but I want to start out with the obvious. Now, coilovers are definitely going to lower your car, but these are adjustable coilovers, meaning that you can control how much you lower the whole thing down. So if you want to slam it, drop everything down and let it ride on the ground. But if you prefer a bit more ground clearance, maybe you have some potholes or speed bumps nearby your house, you can adjust them up and not cringe at every one of them. Now, this kit is going to give you between 1 and 3 inches of lowering. Now, up front, you've got adjustable collars here on the bodies of the shocks. Just spin these to raise the ride height, lower it down to drop the car. Similar principle applies out back here, except that the spring perches are separate. Same thing is going to be here. You're just going to lower these collars down to lower the car, raise them up to get it a little bit higher. The shocks, both front and rear, are gas-charged monotube units, making them a bit stiffer and imbuing them with some more capable damping to account for that increased stiffness. However, these aren't going to ruin the ride quality. Nope, in fact, you also get adjustability here in the form of 30-way adjustable bump and rebound damping controlled by these little tuning knobs at the top of the shock unit. So if you're hitting the track or your favorite twisty road, just crank that dial all the way up and you're gonna have the stiffest damping available. When you're ready to cruise home on the highway, just turn it back down and you'll be in the softest setting. Now, that makes them a really great choice for a daily driven car that's going to see some occasional harder driving. You can maintain that good ride quality here with the ability to throw it around like nobody's business at the drop of a hat. Now, of course, you also get new springs in this kit. Now, both front and rear, these are meant for lowered applications, and they were developed with a motorsports focus, so they can handle that increased damping as well. The fronts have a spring rate of 390, whereas the rears are 280. So they are going to be a bit stiffer than stock, but again, not so stiff as to punish you on every long trip. Now, the other thing that we see included here, and you might have noticed it already, and that is in keeping with the theme of adjustability, are these adjustable camber plates up front to help keep everything aligned. So when you lower a car, again, that's going to throw off the suspension geometry. You might have your wheels kind of canted out like that. That's called negative camber. And without diving too deep into it, having the camber plates here is going to make getting that alignment right and get your tires in the right place so you have more grip, and that means better cornering capabilities for you and less tire wear in the long run. The spring perches, the shock bodies, and the camber plates are all constructed using T6 aluminum, making them super strong and lightweight. The shock bodies have that threading on the outside for the adjustment, again, both front and rear, and everything's got a nice coating on it as well. So black for the shocks, red for the springs, gives you a nice little pop of color, and it's going to be very resistant to rust, corrosion, and the elements in general. You also get brand new end links in the kit as well, so this makes for a pretty substantial suspension refresh. These are also very nice and tight. I can't even move it right here, so it's going to feel a lot better once you get everything on the car. Pricing comes in at about $1,600, and for all you're getting here, I would say that's a pretty good value. Again, there's a ton of adjustability baked in here, and it's all backed by good quality parts and research. So if you're looking for a solid set of coilovers that can pull double duty on both the street and the track, these are going to be a great option for you, especially because of that adjustable damping, the ride height, and the camber adjustments. Installation is going to get a 3 out of 3, and it should take you about 5 hours to get this job done. Now, there's a lot of stuff to do, including those end links, so it is going to take some time to get it done right. However, since these are coilovers, you don't have to mess with the spring compressor or anything like that, and everything just bolts on, no modifications required. Just know that it is going to take you some time, and you are going to have to make some adjustments to get the ride height exactly where you want it to, so just account for that when you go to do the job. Enough talking about it though, let's head over to the install bay and we'll show you how to get this one done.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun, a 21, a 19, an 18, 15, 13, 12, 10 millimeter deep sockets, a 19, 18, 17, and a 10 millimeter wrench, a soft blow hammer, a trim removal tool, and a 5 and a 6 millimeter Allen wrench. Hi everyone, today we're installing a coilover kit on our Mustang. So let's get started with the uninstall of the stock system first. All right, once you've got your vehicle properly supported and your tires and wheels removed, first thing we're going to do is remove 3 of these nuts on the shock tower, and then we're going to loosen up the 4th one, but we're not going to take it off just yet. So we're going to use our 13 millimeter socket and remove those nuts. All right, now we're going to remove this push pin that holds our ABS line in using our trim removal tool. We just reach in there and pop it out. Now we'll remove this nut right here that holds on our brake hose using our 10 millimeter socket. Just pull that out of the way. Now we'll go ahead and remove our upper sway bar link using our 18 millimeter socket. Now we can remove the 2 nuts that hold our lower strut mount onto the bolts using our 21 millimeter socket. Now at this point you may need to use a soft mallet just to go ahead and drive those bolts out. And we go ahead and remove our upper sway bar link. Now we can remove the last remaining nut at the top of our strut and go ahead and slide the strut out. All right, now we'll hold our strut at the bottom, make sure it doesn't fall on the ground. Remove that last nut at the top. And go ahead and remove our strut. All right, with our strut out of the way, now we can go ahead and remove our lower sway bar link using an 18 millimeter wrench and a 8 millimeter wrench. So we'll go ahead and put our 18 millimeter on there, break that loose, and then we'll use our 8 millimeter to go ahead and turn that stud. Now we go ahead and install our lower sway bar mount link with the provided nut. Now to tighten that up, you're going to need a 6 millimeter Allen wrench and a 19 millimeter wrench. So we'll put the 19 on the nut, and our 6 millimeter goes in the end of the stud. And we'll just go ahead and tighten that up. All right, once you've got that tightened up, we'll just get this out of the way so we can go ahead and install our strut. Now, not all of them come with this, but some of the struts do come with an alignment notch here at the top. You just want to make sure that that is lined up with the lower strut mount here. Then we'll go ahead and insert this into the top and just attach one of the nuts right now just to hold it in. All right, now that that's secure, we can go ahead and reattach our steering knuckle to our lower strut mount. Now at this point, you're going to want to use your floor jack to help raise up that lower control arm to help get your steering knuckle and the strut aligned properly. Once you've got it in the right spot, go ahead and insert the bolts. And then go ahead and put your nuts on the other side. Now we go ahead and tighten down our nuts with our 21mm socket. And now we'll go ahead and put the rest of our nuts at the top of our strut. And we'll tighten them down with our 12mm socket. Now we can go ahead and attach our brake hose to the strut using the supplied hardware. And you'll need a 5mm Allen wrench and a 10mm wrench for the nut. And go ahead and tighten that down. And then go ahead and reinsert your ABS line into the bracket on the strut as well. Now I recommend not attaching the upper sway bar link until you get the other side done. Otherwise, the mismatch between the stock height and the new height will cause a lot of difficulty in trying to get this installed into the bracket here. So once you get the other side, the other strut installed, go ahead, then you can attach your sway bar link. Now that we've got the other side installed, we can go ahead and attach our upper sway bar link. And using the supplied nut, we'll go ahead and tighten that down with our 19mm socket. And you can repeat that whole process for the other side. To start the uninstall for the rear, we're going to have to go in through the trunk and pull off this side trim carpet to expose the stud and the nut at the top of our shock. So we're going to go ahead and remove that nut with our 15mm socket. Now you're going to want to keep this because you're going to reuse it on the new shock. Now we can go ahead and remove this 10mm bolt here that's right in front of the rear caliper because we are going to be lowering the axle to remove the springs. Now we're going to remove our upper sway bar link bolt in the rear using our 15mm socket. And you're going to want to do this for both sides because this does have to come out so that you can access the bolt for the lower shock mount. Now you can go ahead and remove the bolts on both sides and swing the sway bar out of the way. Now at this point you do want to have a jack underneath your axle just to hold up the tension on the spring. And then we'll go ahead and remove our lower shock mount bolt using our 15mm socket. Once the bolt is out, you can go ahead and remove the shock. Now you can go ahead and lower your jack and release the tension on the spring and go ahead and slide the spring out once you get it lowered. We can just lift up on the spring and slide it out. Now you do want to make sure that you retain both the lower and the upper isolator for the springs because they'll be reused on the new ones. Now before we install our new shock, we're going to remove this lower bushing and the washer at the top of the original shock simply by pulling it up, and we're going to install it on the top of our new shock. Now you want to make sure that this washer is on the new shock, and then we'll just go ahead and slide that on. Now at this point, it'd be really nice if you had an extra set of hands because we're going to install the top of the shock first, install the nut back on top of it, and then we can go ahead and install the lower shock mount on the axle. It's a little tough to do this all by yourself, so an extra pair of hands would be really good. Now we'll go ahead and insert our new shock back up through the fender well here. And then we can attach the nut on the top. Now we can go ahead, install our top nut and bushing. And we'll tighten that down with our 15mm socket. All right, now we can go ahead and install our new spring with our adjusting collar, making sure that the adjusting collar is on the bottom of the spring and both of the original isolators are still in the vehicle. So we'll go ahead and set this up on the perch. And now we'll use our jack to raise up the axle so that we can install the lower shock mount and make sure that the spring fits in the upper mount as well. So just keep an eye on it, make sure that everything is still loose. All right, that's going in good. And then once you've got the holes lined up for your lower shock mount, go ahead and install the bolt. And we can go ahead and insert our bolt. Install the lock nut on the other side. And tighten it down with our 15mm socket. Now you can repeat that whole process for the other side before we reinstall our sway bar. Now that we've got both sides done, we'll go ahead, lift our sway bar up into position. Install our bolt and our lock nut. On both sides. and we'll tighten them down with our 15mm socket. Now we can go and reinstall the bolt for our brake line bracket. Tighten it with our 10mm socket. And now you can go ahead and remove your jack as well. Now that we've got the rest of the system installed, the last thing we need to do is install our adjustment knobs for the rear shocks. And to do that, you're just going to slide the end of it into the end of the shock and then tighten the nut below it and just give it a little snug with your 19mm wrench. Now it doesn't have to be overly tight. Just give it a little snug to make sure that it stays in place. Then you can check your knob, make sure that it's actually adjusting. There are 30 different levels of adjustment that you can make on the shocks and the struts. So we just left it where the factory set it when they shipped it to us. I recommend you do the same. Take it out for a test drive, see how it feels. If you don't like it, if it's too hard or too soft, then you can go ahead and adjust it using these knobs. All right, now we've got everything installed. You can go ahead and put your tires back on, set it down on the ground, roll it around a little bit, make sure everything settles down, and then you can check your ride height. If you don't like it, for whatever reason, if it's too low, you can always adjust it higher. If it's too high, you can adjust it lower. Now we installed ours the exact same way that it came from the manufacturer. We made no adjustments at all. We happen to like the way it sits. But, like I said, if you don't like the way it sits or you want to change it for whatever reason, you're going to use this lower lock collar right here to loosen that up, and you're going to use the supplied spanner wrench and loosen this collar up. Now, once you've got your collar loose, make the determination as to whether you want to raise or lower the ride height. If you want to lower the ride height, you're going to just grab the body of the strut right here and twist it down clockwise so that it goes down into the body of the strut here. If it's too low and you want to raise it, then you're just going to grab the body and you're going to twist it counterclockwise, and that will raise it up. Once you've got it to the height you think you want it, go ahead and tighten the lock collar down. And then once you get it down, use your spanner wrench to go ahead and tighten it. Now, just like the rear shocks, the front shocks also have a dampening knob on the top of the strut. Again, it has 30 different adjustment levels, and it adjusts the rebound and the dampening at the same time. So take it for a ride. If you don't like it, if it's too rough, turn it down. If it's too high, turn it up. Now, as always, anytime you do any kind of suspension work, especially as involved as what we did here, torque everything down to factory recommended specs, and before you drive it any distance at all, make sure you take it to your local alignment shop and get a four-wheel alignment done on your vehicle so that you won't wear out any tires or suspension pieces. And that wraps up our review and install of the Pedders Extreme XA Coilover Plus Kit for the 05 to 14 Mustang. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.